but I will put your Instagram handle, if you will, in there on in the bottom.
Yeah, because
So
I'd love to
people,
show, like, I'd love to show them to you. Yeah, that would be really cool.
yeah, they're very cool. And I mean, I know that one time you were telling me that like it's like a 12-page report that you end up giving to your client.
You would be surprised the amount of information that comes through. Yeah, there's at least 10 typed up pages, and people will read through it and be like, "Oh my gosh, like everything made sense." Like I like so, and I don't know the people. It's not like I have a
Right.
and I don't interview before. I do not have a conversation. The only thing that I start with is a photograph and their name.
Oh,
And I
that's
can,
cool.
so I can connect to the name vibration, and I can look up I mean, not look, like look at the connect
Picture.
with, yeah, I'm like losing my train of thought. So
No,
here's one of those. I'm like trying to think of like what I'm trying to say here. Like, yeah, so no photo. So
no
start
photo.
again.
Yeah.
So
So
I,
so you
if
use
you,
a photo. You do
I
use the
use
photo. Yeah.
just a photo and a
Yeah.
name. Like I
Gotcha.
need the name vibration and the photo.
And it's
And obvious,
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Like all your art is like it's beautiful. It's
thank you.
beautiful. It is really, really cool. And it's a digital art that you do.
It's a digital art that is then printed onto a canvas for someone so that it's
That's
printed
awesome.
off. Yeah, it's interesting because I learned how to, it was in a mediumship channeling class where I started channeling images, and I started doing it on my phone. I do with my finger because that's how it started. And my teacher noticed and she's like, you know what? I want you to start doing readings that way. Try to do a piece of art. So she put me with a client, and I had a friend that was reading for that client, and I was to do the drawing. And I watched as my friend was talking, and the woman was nodding. She was getting all kinds of mediumistic hits, and she was reacting well. And she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was drawing, and I thought, oh, I'm just drawing a silly yellow rose. What does this have to do with, like, you get those sort of like,
Yeah.
I doubt myself kind of thing. And so I'm drawing it, and finally it was my turn to go. And all I did was turn my phone around, show her the yellow rose, and it was tears. She's like, "You don't understand. That was my symbol with my husband. Everything was always yellow roses, our anniversaries, everything. He always brought me that.
I
That
love
was the
that.
most significant." Yeah. So that's when I kind of got it. Like, oh, these images really do talk. There's information here.
Yeah. So if somebody is dabbling, kind of like dabbling into their mediumship and they've noticed that they start to draw, like what kind of advice do you have for them to like move
Go.
forward? How did you just start working with people then immediately and just being like, "Hey, I just want to see if this works," or how did you start with that like working with people?
Yeah, so in my class, when I was doing like boot camp and doing that sort of rose class, I was talking about how I did the rose. There were other students in there that were like, "Oh, that's cool. Can you do one for me? Oh, that's cool." So I kind of started,
That
working with
way?
them and bringing information through. And then I was seeing the results. I'm like, "Wow, this is really working." Like I remember I started out doing a bird cage for one woman, and I wrote, and I also channel like information comes through. So I remember writing something about her not singing anymore. Like there was a question, spirit was telling me, you got to ask her why she's not singing anymore. And so it was about this nightingale. It was a bird in a cage, and the cage door was open, and I'm like, the reading sort of went something like, the door is open, you're trapped by your own thoughts, why aren't you singing anymore? And she was just blown away because she had stopped singing, and it was also accurate for her and very timely. So it's interesting, sort of how the visuals appear.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. I all I know is that I'm totally drawn to that. I think that is probably the coolest thing I've ever I've seen. And because I'm an automatic drawer, I started doing some doodles after I met Anna, and she kind of inspired me with these stories of how she talked to people and she got images and she was connecting. Um, I I am a horrible artist, as everybody knows. But when I get into the zone and I start doing it intuitively and start doing automatic, my drawings were so much better. It
Absolutely.
was so weird. And I one day I'm gonna have to put up on my TikTok images of when I first started drawing, like in Olivia head, and like horrid, like really bad. In fact, actually, some of them are on my website. If you go to oliviadibert.com, it's on my front page, where it's like just crazy sketches, but you know what? You can still see what my drawing did and how it's connected to the perpetrator in a crime. So, I think that all psychic mediums are kind of thematic. That's like my thing. And I noticed that like I was always pulled, and not pulled, I just always end up being with something about crime. I know I saw when I was 16, which kind of was the demise of like my intuitiveness for a few years, was at 16, I saw a little boy who I knew was murdered in my neighborhood.
Mm.
And I was driving down the street and I saw him on the side of the road. And I was just like, uh, what? He had blood coming down his head. Like it was all graphic. It's the
Mm.
typical murder scene. And I was just like, it bothered me so much because typically at that time, since I was little, I always saw spirit as real people, as if I'm talking to you, like I can see you. So I never was scared. I was never, I was more scared of the things that I couldn't see. So if I heard voices in my hallway, I was scared of that because I couldn't see the person. But usually I could see the people, and it never scared me. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I saw that it bothered me so much because I saw him in black and white, and I
Mm.
never seen spirit like that before. And I was just like, I don't understand what's happening. Am I going crazy? And I talked to my mom about it. She took me to a psychiatrist. So after that, everything kind of shut down. But anyways, so I did get into the drawing part because of you. And I started doing like doodles, a lot of doodling, and the stuff that I'm pulled to, I guess, is more I don't even know what it's called. Not impressionist, but it like abstract,
Mhm.
like abstract arty type of stuff. And I started to notice that when I started thinking about certain people, I was gravitating towards a color palette. And then I would grab those colors and I would just start flowing. And instead of drawing pictures per se, I was drawing like their auric field.
Mhm.
I think I was drawing their aura. And then I started developing symbolism. And because I met you, I was able to write all that shit down and save it. And I would write on the back of what I was drawing so that I'd be like, da, 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 da. And little by little, I'd start showing people and they were like, that is so funny, so it resonated with them. And then I turned it into readings. So I kind of do the same thing. Yours is way nicer than mine, but I just do a little bit of a, it's like soul art in a way that it's more
Yeah,
aura,
definitely. It's
right?
definitely, yeah, definitely a form of soul art. And that's definitely a way. And anybody that's out there like interested in doing that, like you're going to do it a different way. Like
Right.
I've learned that. And if anybody's telling you you have to do it a certain way, then I'm like, just walk away because we're all different with our gifts. We're all different with the way the information is going to come and be translated through us. So I think it's just, your way, your natural way of developing. And it will change. Like I started out, like I said, simple finger on the phone kind of thing, very basic drawings. And then, I do feel like Olivia said, you start working and getting into the flow and connecting to spirit. And suddenly things that you thought you couldn't draw or couldn't do are suddenly happening. And you're like, how did I do that? Because I'm not a fine artist by trade. I graphic design, but I stayed away from faces because I thought, oh my God, I can't draw a face. And now look where I am. It's like one of those things.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really funny because um when I start to draw automatic draw, especially like perpetrators or victims or whatever, I do not see their faces in my head. I have no idea what I'm going to draw. My hand just kind of takes over. And it's really funny because I talk to my hand and I'm just like, okay, girl, let's go. And I grab my pad of paper and my shit and I just start flowing. Um, and it's sometimes I'll be like, oh, most of the times when I'm working on crimes, perpetrators are male. That is just right. The percentage of perpetrators, it's just mostly male. Um, so when I start drawing females, that's when I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was going to draw a female. Like, it takes me back a little bit. Um, but yeah, I love all this. I think it's really kind of cool. So Anna and I, we have trained together quite a bit. We go to different teachers. I met Anna in a class that was taught by Pam Coronado. And
Mhm.
we just, it was from that point on, we just started becoming really good friends and we started doing trainings together. Because in this field, let's be honest, it's a never ending journey of knowledge. And I think it's so important that psychic mediums don't feel like they're too good to go somewhere to train. You know what I mean? Like, because it's you learn from so many different people, not just technique, but about the world and about mysticism. You learn so much more. Now, I always say I am not woo woo because, and I forget sometimes Anna and I are so similar. We kind of grew up the same way. We have a lot of things that are very similar, even in our unicorn life. Um, we both had a fat lady and skinny lady as spirit guides, maybe. I don't know, what would you call them?
Yeah, there was some sort of guides that,
Or past life people that
yeah.
are helping us. Like, and my fat lady and skinny lady were from Victorian time. And I believe that they never believed I had parents. So I always felt like there was some kind of attachment to like orphanages or something like that with those two ladies. Tell me about your fat lady and skinny lady.
So the fat lady and skinny lady really came in for me, and I think they were actually my mother's guides because I was it was a dream state, which I don't usually have dreams, but
Mm-hmm.
they were appearing in my dreams and they were telling me about my mother's health. And later on, of course, she became ill, but it was interesting that I felt like they had a medical background, and I almost felt like these two women were more futuristic because they did show me in for my mother they I it was like an x-ray type thing, but not really. It was a metal, uh, like a square metal, almost like a clipboard type thing that they would flip over. And I could see like the inside hologram of my mom. And I'm like, this, at the time in my dream, you're not thinking, oh, this isn't real. This isn't like that. But
Right.
it was making sense. It was so real. When I woke up, I knew it was more than a dream. It was so vivid. And
Yeah.
I think because it's so vivid, dreams I usually, if I did have them, I'd forget them. But when I have like a vision like that, it's very vivid. It's
Yeah.
different. It's
I'm so curious, you guys, if you have any experience with a fat lady and skinny lady as a child, or any time of your lifetime, or had something like, I'm curious how many people have had the fat lady and skinny lady, because
well,
what are the odds? And I thought they were just real people. Like, why would I not be scared of like strangers in my house? I don't know, but I never was. But I mean, isn't that weird that we would both have a fat lady and skinny lady as some type of guidance? And I just
very
think that's,
interesting.
yeah. Like, has anybody else experienced a fat lady and skinny lady? If you have, put it down in the comments. I want to know. I just want to know because I think that's so interesting that we both had that. And, but we have way more things that are in common, like names in our families and situational stuff, like your kids, my kids. Like they're very similar. So
Yeah,
what do you
it's
think?
no accident we're here. Like
Oh,
it's
100%. 100%. And then Anna and I are constantly like, "Oh, girl, check out this training." So I'm not familiar with a lot of the woo woo, and I think that's why I'm not very woo woo. And I find, in my experience at least, that when people get caught up in the woo woo, they feel like they need to be magical. You know what I mean? Like they
yeah,
feel like they
yeah,
need to have that feeling of like, oh, I don't get tingles. Oh, I don't feel like I don't see anybody or I don't feel them. When I first started off, it was a very fine line of like feeling things. But the more and more I did it, then I was like, oh, I can totally feel them now. I do not see spirit like I did back in the day, at all. I mean, I've had experiences where I lived in a home and I saw shadow people, but my shadow person, I think, is completely different than the negative shadow people that people talk about. It's literally just a person. I just couldn't see their definition, and I could see them as a shadow. My daughter and I could see the same person at the same time. So I mean, like, it's that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Um, what I'm trying to think, what else did we have in common that was like instant connect? Because you and I can't stop talking when we're together. We drove
I
to
think that
Kentucky, and the whole fucking time we were just talking. Like it was nonstop talking.
would have made people crazy.
We
Yes,
always
for
make,
sure.
yeah. Well, I always get told I talk too much. So here we are. It's a perfect venue for me is podcasting.
Yeah,
Um,
and I wanted to just go back to what you said about the intuitive art and how you, when you're sketching, you don't see the full face.
right.
Yeah, that really, really, I mean, I don't know, I don't see the full face either when I'm doing like perpetrators. I think a lot of times it's like I get a feeling of something about their face and I kind of start and I think, it's really important that you don't, if you're interested in doing this, that you don't wait to see the full face because you could be waiting a long time. It
Yeah.
starts to happen when your pencil hits the paper. When you
Yeah. And then
start,
you start drawing, you start going, like,
yeah,
oh,
then
this
it
isn't
starts.
right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
or like, oh, the nose is not right. And like you put it down and you're like,
right, right.
you
You
feel
just
it.
know.
You just feel it. Like, okay, this isn't right, or the nose isn't right. And since I'm a horrible artist, and actually our friend Morgan, she is like a real artist. Not Anna, that you're not, but Morgan does art, and she's been teaching me classes. So the problem with that is that because I am such a structured fool, uh, I then started losing some of my intuition because I was so worried about the face. So what I had to do was just practice faces and not worry, just worry about the structure there and not try to do everything at one time, like my intuitiveness for crimes when I'm drawing sketches. I try not to worry so much about structure and just pray that my training gets pulled over a little bit, but I don't worry about it so much because then I lose my intuitiveness and I start getting into my left brain. But there are certain things like sometimes chins and that kind of stuff really is hard for me. And I know I just need to remember the basics. Like guys are a little bit more squarey, they're a little bit longer, women are a little bit shorter in the chin. It's things like that where it's like simple rules. Here's where the eyes, nose, and mouth need to go. While I try to do that, but I don't stress about it anymore because you know me, I'm very structured. If I get in my head too much, I have lost all of my intuition, like
Yes. Yeah,
completely.
and I agree with that, Olivia, because like if you're drawing and the eyes are say a little bit off to the maybe wide set or whatever,
Right.
and you're thinking, oh, I need to put them back in because technically they should line up here. Your intuition might be right. That eye might be wide set, or they could have a lazy eye, or something could be going on because
Yes.
you know. So I do teach a course in that on Pam Carnato's website of intuitive art and sort of feeling into the face, and that's one of the places people get caught up in. It's like when you start looking at diagrams, look at them, learn a little bit, but then go to and do your art on a separate session because if you're trying to perfect the face while you're doing the perp, it's not going to happen because you're
That's
too much in your head.
so funny that you said that. So here's what I do. I sit down with it. I sketch it out. If I feel like the nose isn't quite right, I'll try to fix it right then and there. But I typically sketch it out. And then I'll look at it and be like, all the erasing in the world is not going to fix what I feel is wrong with it. You know what I mean? So I will do it again. So again, this is on my website, and I did a perp sketch, and this guy, I made his hair. No, I made a hat on him. I thought it was a hard hat, and it was roundish on the top, and it was out on the sides, and I was just like, I don't know why I did that. I know it's not right. I don't know how to fix this because it's his whole freaking head. So I just resketched it and I'm like, no, my goal, and I set my intention. My intention is to get his hair. I'm terrible at hair, by the way, not drawing it, but like seeing it on perpetrators. I don't know what it is about me and hair. I'm working on it. It's getting better. But the second time I drew this guy and I did his hair, well, holy crap. Once I saw his perp picture, his hair was like he has really thick hair and it was fluffy and it was poofed out. So I think my brain somehow caught that shape and I turned it into a hat because I thought there's no way it's his hair. If you put that picture side by side with my hat picture, it is his freaking hair. And then we found another picture of him, and my second drawing looks like that picture. So it was the guy. The face was correct. It was his head, and I just thought that was so funny that my brain interpreted it as a hat versus his hair.
And that's interesting because a lot of times I've seen this done is exactly what Olivia said. I'm trying to draw his, head, and I feel like I'm putting a hat on him. It feels like it's out there. I know that it has to be wrong. And
Yeah,
as soon as you say that, 9 times out of 10, you're right because it's your
yeah,
intuition was giving you that hit, but your brain is trying to say, no, you're wrong. It's
yeah,
trying to talk you out of it. So it's a
yeah.
definite.
Left brain, right brain. We talk about that all the time. And I know I had this guy reach out to me and was like, your brain has nothing to do with your spirituality. And I disagree with that. I mean, I know that there's a higher, guides and that but I think our brain is like our antenna. There is a section in our brain, our pineal gland. There, we talk about that all the time, and I think that we've talked about it before. I talk about right brain, left brain, and it's important. It's important for you to understand your right brain is your creative side, so it's receiving information,
Mm,
and then your left brain is designed to name what your right brain is seeing, right? So
right.
there is a brain part of being a psychic medium. There is, and you just have to learn to control it. And I have done also a video on this on TikTok. If you guys want to go and look at that, it's my handle is Olivia Dybert Psychic MED. But yeah, I talk about it because it's important. People sometimes get in their left brain, then they start telling this like fantastical story of the crime. And I'm just like, oh no, dude, what are you doing? But they truly believe it because their brain is trying to name everything. And so it designs things so that they can name it. And then that's when usually psychic mediums are wrong. It's because they're let their left brain pop in and say, "Oh, you have to name it." No, you don't have to name it. You just need to describe it. And we've learned that a lot in almost all the classes that we've done. Describe, describe, describe. Everybody says the same thing, because what it looks like to you, you could name it something else, and I could see the same image and I could name it something else. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So describing, I think, is huge. But yeah, that's what our left brain does. It tries to name it. So I always say describe it. And if you are thinking, you are not receiving.
That's
Period.
right.
Period. Once you start going, oh, the nose is wrong. Oh, but I do it because it feels wrong, not because I'm my left brain is telling me what it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not
Yes.
thinking about it. It just feels. I feel like I need to redo it. So I redo it. But yeah, super interesting. What was I going to ask you? We both grew up with family who didn't really believe in any of this.
Absolutely not. Did not.
So how
Was
did you become so woo woo?
because I don't know from a young
Did
age.
it's always just like attracted you?
Yeah, it attracted me, but I also was living it. Like I would just know things that were crazy, like, oh, this letter is going to come today from my friend. And I would announce in college, oh, I got to go check my box. I have a letter from so and so. And they'd be like, well, how do you know that? I just know it's there and it would be there. Or I would just, I think my knowing was so strong that somebody once asked, oh my gosh, I'm starting to date this guy. You're never going to guess his middle name. And I'm like, Rudolph. And she just looked at me and she's like, are you kidding me? So it wasn't
Yeah.
anything I was thinking. It was part of who I was. So I
Right.
think it was always there.
Yeah.
And, my parents not believing it kind of just left me perplexed because I could tell them, I'd be like, oh, that woman that you had over at the house, well, she's, something about her. She's not very nice, really deep inside. And my mother
Yeah.
would be like, oh, why are you picking that up? And it would end up being true. So
Yeah. I do that all the time. My knowing was really strong when I was younger. My feelings, um, being able to tap into somebody, like, especially when they're sick, awful, or when they're depressed, awful, or if they have a
Mm,
headache. And I always thought that I was a sickly child. And
me too.
oh, it was horrible. And I'd be like, um, how many times did I go to the hospital for migraines? Well, it turns out my dad suffered from migraines, but did I really? Because I thought I did too, because it was my dad. But I think
Mm,
most of the time it was I was picking up on my dad. And it was like that, or I'd be like, I'm so sick, I can't go to school because whoever was at the house was not feeling good. And then they would leave the house. I didn't go to school. I'd feel better. And my mom's like, you're faking it. And I'd be like, no, I'm not, or how many times have I like, and I don't know if this happened to you, but like I was in charge of this dance team. It was right after I was their advisor. It was a dance team in a high school dance team. And I looked like the biggest flake in the whole world because there was a lot of traveling. And there'd be times where I'm like so sick that I was like, I can't go, I can't go, I can't go, I can't go. Like something is going to happen, like that type of thing. And
mm.
I wouldn't go because my body would literally get sick. So I didn't go. And yeah, so I mean, it's not always great. And
So
people think
like
you're dramatic.
so in those instances where you were sick, was something going on when they were traveling? Were there issues that would happen?
I don't know because I didn't go. Um, Here's something else I think. If I had gone, would something have happened?
Mm,
And because I
true.
didn't go, they were okay. But it was such a strong feeling. Here's another one in Northern California, right before the big 7 point something earthquake or 6.8 earthquake that we had. I think that was in early 90s, I think. Anyway, it's when the during the World Series. It was that time. I was actually supposed to be at the World Series.
Wow.
And that morning I woke up very anxious. Um, oh gosh, like really anxious. I was like, my hands were sweaty. I felt so nauseated. I had tingles on my feet and my forehead. Um, and then I started getting my migraine headache and bad. It was really, really bad. And so I was icing my forehead, taking pills. The pills made me nauseous. I started vomiting. I had to call and I was just like, you guys, I can't go. There is no way I could get on a bus. I mean, it's only an hour away. We were only like 45 minutes to an hour away. Um, but I was just like, there's just no way. I can barely even open my eyes. I can't, I got really sick. And as soon as I made that decision, and probably about an hour and a half later, I was fine. I was fine. I felt fine. I wasn't nauseous. I wasn't any of that stuff. And and then it hit again. The nausea, the shakies, that like all of that stuff. And then it was the earthquake hit. So I got started feeling ill again about a half an hour before the earthquake hit.
Mm,
And and of course we were an hour away. It was like the earthquake was right under our house. I mean, it was pretty strong. So I mean, but I think had I gone, would something worse had happened to the girls or something to that effect. So I mean, there's cool, pros that being a psychic medium, and there's definitely cons of being a psychic medium, because I think a lot of us have issues. I think that it can wear your body down. I try really hard to protect myself and to keep my guards up and to not absorb other people's pain. I do that quite often. And I've read that a lot of psychic mediums have autoimmune disease. Have you heard that?
no, I wasn't aware of that, but I understand how that can happen if you're holding on to energy and you're not clearing yourself, or
Yeah.
we have to really learn in housekeeping when we're doing this type of work.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think about Amy Allen all the time,
Mm,
right? Some of the things that she dabbles in, and she is physically ill. And she's always known she was going to be physically ill. And then that's some of the other stuff. Like, I didn't know much about astrology. I didn't know anything about tarot. I didn't tarot. I didn't know anything about pendulums. I didn't know anything about anything. I just did me. I just, I dream. Well, my dreams are wicked crazy and they always mean something. Um, so my dreams have always been super strong. My predictions have always been super strong. Like tsunamis and earthquakes and tornadoes, and just trying to place them though is like, and I get them like hours before sometimes, and I'm like, how am I supposed to help people with that? It's hard. It's hard to know that something major is happening and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
But
that's amazing.
it, but isn't that? I mean, it's hard. But do you? I just feel like maybe I'm getting those premonitions to help with the aftermath. It's not always about preventing, right? I mean, because we can't prevent. It is what it is. But are
Right.
we being prepared for the aftermath?
It could be. It could be. It's, and I've had that happen with, I have started recently taking some spirit art courses where you're actually drawing. I've worked my way up there finally to spaces in spirit.
Yeah.
And, in one of the classes, there was a gentleman that came in. He wasn't for somebody in the room, but like you, Olivia, I was so drawn to it. He was talking about an avalanche being ski patrol. He
Yeah.
died recently. I had to look it up and I found him, and my sketch matched what his image was on the
Wow.
which was crazy. And then you're like, well, what do I do with this information now that I've
Right.
got that? Right. So, but it
Maybe it's also then, spirit telling you that you can do it. Maybe
and it
that's why
could
you
be,
got it,
could have been
right?
clear,
And that
right?
that's the other thing, like because I work in crime has been my theme. I dream about crime. I do everything is about crime. It seems like that and natural disasters or world events are the strongest ones for me. Um, yeah, no, I just feel like when I just because this is a really hard thing for me. It's one of the rules that I have, and I was happy to see that other people who train psychic mediums to work on crimes, they feel the same way, which is just because I dream about something, it doesn't mean I should always contact law enforcement. I don't want to
Exactly.
bog them down. And if I
Right.
can't say, did you check on 43rd Street a mile up to the right? You're going to see a red shoe and just be on that. I mean, I want to be able
Right.
to give them such specific information. And if I can't give them that specific information, I do not call.
Absolutely.
And that's when I started, I learned mapping, how to do landmarks, how to do all that stuff. And that has really helped with narrowing areas. And I think that a lot of people think just because I had a dream about it, I'm going to call the police. But then I'll say,
Right.
well, can you give a name? Can you give a location? That you giving them that dream is like a needle in a haystack. Like they don't even know what to do with that because it's irrelevant. We have to remember police officers they deal in evidence.
Yeah.
So everything they
Concrete.
look is concrete, it's evidence. And if you don't have anything that's concrete or like would help them with evidence or where to find evidence, it's kind of useless to them.
Right.
So yeah, you could dream, but maybe it's you're dreaming those things so that you can. And how do you fine tune that? So that's what I kind of dig about TikTok. It allows me to express my dreams. And I feel that if I dream about something, I put it out. I put it out. If I don't dream about it, I don't put it out on TikTok. Um, but if spirit's coming to me, they're coming to me for a reason and they know I can see, feel, and hear them. I put it out. So and then so that's how I treat my TikTok at least. And so those of you that follow me on TikTok, you'll see I have like random videos. I try to label them appropriately, like dream prediction, and then I usually have like outcome or connecting the dots. And, this is what I think my dream is about, that kind of stuff. So um now that we're talking about dreams, do you mind if we segue into Nancy Guthrie?
That'd be great.
So you and I have like powwowed about her case quite a bit. I had dreams, um, and I now believe that some of those dreams that I had before I discovered she was missing. So I don't know if you know how I discovered she was missing. I don't watch the news. I don't. Anna's my connection to the outside world. Usually I don't know, and then Anna will be like, "Did you hear this? Did you watch that?" And I'll be like, "No, I didn't say what happened. Don't tell me what happened." Okay, don't tell me. So that she's my link to my outside world. You and my girlfriend Sarah, you guys are like my link to that to the outside world. Um, but my girlfriend sent me a picture and she was like, I've kind of coached her now, like, don't give me any information, just give me a picture and tell me some direction, like, what do you want to know? And she was like, dead or alive. And then she sent me a picture of Nancy Guthrie. And when I first got it, I said deceased immediately. But then I was like, wait a minute, I don't think she's deceased. I do feel movement now that I really tapped in, because at the time I was too busy watching ghost shows with my daughter, and I was like, I'll look at it later. But I was doing like little tap ins. That I felt like, no, I feel like she is alive, and I don't think she's doing well. I felt pressure in the chest. I felt injury to the face, my front of my nose, and the like the back of my head or side of my head. But I that's where the pain was like centered, was on the side of my head, and I picked up I told her, I'm like, this is like an old fashioned kidnapping. There's going to be ransom notes. There's going to be like, is this what this is? And I feel like gun or gunpoint or gunshot. There's something about a gun. Um, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know. Because at the time, that information wasn't out. I believe it was the same day, later that same day, I looked at her again. I said, I just don't think she's alive. I don't, unfortunately, I don't think she's with us anymore. Um, how did you first hear about Nancy? Did you and I talk, or did you hear it on the news? Or did I call you? I don't remember.
I'm trying to think back. I think I did hear stuff on the news. I mean, I think I did. And then probably you started talking about it, and I sort of was listening to what you were saying, and then we did that session, that quick, sometimes we do a session where we talk and then you answer the questions, and we kind of
Yeah.
did
So
that back and forth. So
we call that monitoring, and the technique is really cool. Someone sits back and another person asks questions, which is really helpful to a psychic medium like myself. I need to shut down my brain. It's hard for me to ask myself questions and then try to get answers. And so Anna and I we had a class, and after class we sat on the phone until like 1 o'clock in the morning or something crazy, and
wow.
you were asking me questions, and I was just answering them without having to think and tried to prod questions out of myself. And it is a technique, and it is called monitoring, and there's a awesome book about monitoring. I will link it in the description so that if you guys want to take a look at it, but you do need a partner. I recommend it. I mean, you can do it by yourself. It's just so much harder. It is nice to be able to relax and let someone ask you questions. And we came up with some crazy answers
Yeah.
when we did that. Do you remember some of the stuff that we talked about?
We talked a little bit about, how far away you thought she might be. We talked about where some of the places you thought possibly could be connected, she might have been held at.
Right.
Um, yeah, it was just interesting to
Do,
sort of,
do you remember those answers? Like
um,
just from your perspective?
from the perspective, yeah, I think from this session, one of the sessions you talked about her not being far from where you take, not taken far. That was one of the things that you stressed over and over. She's not very far. Like you didn't
Right.
feel like she left into another country or anything like that,
No,
or
I
even
didn't.
left the state. So you were saying within a half hour
Mhm.
tops
Yeah,
range. And then we spoke of, we did see like a white shed. You spoke of that shed area
I
that
did,
you
didn't
thought,
I?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. See, this is what happens when I relax. And that's kind of cool because I forgot about I saw a shed like, oh yeah, I
And
did
yeah.
forget about that. And I felt like there was some kind of container inside that shed or something
Mm-hmm. There was a container. Yeah,
because
we
I
talked.
felt like there was a lid over me.
Right, right. When I
Because I
asked
felt
you what's above, you felt like something was on top of you.
Yeah. I forgot about that. And I smelled different things, which I thought
Hmm.
was odd and different, right? I smelled grass
Yes.
and gasoline.
Yeah.
I felt like I saw things hanging on the shed walls, like shears. Um, do you remember what else? I don't remember.
Mm, yeah, I'm trying to recall. It's hard, you see so much on the news, you get front loaded with all their information.
Yeah,
It's hard for me now to go in and pick apart
like what I said. And yeah,
what
and,
you
and I
said.
don't know. I don't remember if I wrote anything down while we were doing it. So I don't have any recollection. But I do remember now the shed. That's really crazy.
That
Because
stands out to me. Yeah.
yeah, so when I first sat with her, I felt like I kept seeing a staircase. And so I thought it was like a basement. Like I went down and I thought, oh, it's a basement. And that I wanted to go down the stairs or something. And a lot of people told me that there aren't any basements, or there are some, but not every house has a basement. The majority of houses don't have basements in Arizona. And so I thought that was really interesting because I kept seeing a staircase. And I don't know. And I know like I wanted to go down the stairs and she was like, I wanted to turn left and she was in that area. Um, but I did see and I drew, and I have a lot of drawings
Mhm.
up on the webs on my TikToks. And I did do a recent session. And what do you feel? Like what are the things that you were picking up?
So, sometimes when I actually, because again, I feel like I've been very front loaded with all of the information from the news and whatnot, but
Yeah.
sometimes when I listen to that, I'm sort of given information as well. So when you were doing your monitored session, what came to me was right away there was it was giving me information about similarities to the Joan Benet Ramsey case. Like
Yeah,
that
you were
came up in
saying
my
that.
awareness. And I feel like, that had something to do with the fact that the ransom note felt not quite right. There were some aspects of the case that I could compare to Joan Benet's
Yeah,
case.
I felt like all those ransom notes were all smoke and mirrors.
Hmm.
Like I like a distraction.
Right.
This whole case, I just kept saying it feels so fake. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying the kidnapping is fake or anything like that, but like my initial reaction was this is just like a movie. Like
Right. It's been orchestrated so much to look like something that it might not be.
maybe possibly that's what it means because I just felt like there was just so much about it that just felt false. And I was just like, what is the deal? Now, when I sat with it, I did see two perpetrators out on the location because I felt like I saw one person on one side of her and another person on her other side, and they were helping her out of the house. I don't think
Mm.
that she was carried. I don't think she was dragged. I didn't feel any of that. I literally saw her walking. Um, Not really walking. They were like walk dragging her. I'll give you that. Um, but I didn't feel like someone threw her over the shoulder type of get out of here. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that was just my way of saying that there's two perpetrators there or if that's really what happened. I mean, it's kind of hard to know, but that's what I saw. And I saw her walking out the door. So it was like, there she goes, like just walked out the door. And the last time I felt like that was the Brian Koberger case, where I just felt like, hello, like I just walked in the door. I felt like almost the same way. Like it just was like, so that tells me, well, with Brian Koberger, we now know that that sliding glass door was unlocked and he did walk in. In this case, I don't know if that means that somebody opened the door and let them in or if they just walked through the front door. Like I have no idea. But I did feel that there is a connection. I feel like she knows these people. And if she doesn't know them well, she knows of them. But I
Mm.
feel like there's recognition here. And I'll tell you what, she fought. And I think they did not expect that at all. the perpetrators. She's feisty. She's
Yeah.
sassy. I like her a lot, actually. But she is a fighter, and she just went hog wild. And I think that really, really threw them off. So, what do you think about that?
So yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I also feel like there was a lot around this case that, not only did it feel like it was orchestrated, I think it also like became something it wasn't supposed to initially be. So it's sort of
Yes.
changed the parameters. I feel like, you I don't think the perpetrators ever felt that it was going to be. I mean, we know that you're taking the mother of a celebrity, so that in itself would be a big TV story, news.
Right.
But I don't think the magnitude of that has thrown some of the dynamics, making it even appear more fake, like with the notes, because suddenly now they're almost changing a
Yeah.
little bit. So yeah, I kind of feel like there's a lot of that.
And I know that some psychic mediums felt like she was moved, that her body was moved to a couple of different locations. How do you feel about that?
You know, I'm not sure. Like, that was a hard one for me. Like again, I go back to the Joan Benet and start being dropped in with that, and I feel again there's some similarities. Obviously, she's been moved once, maybe, but like I don't know if it's like all the time moved around kind of thing. I don't necessarily pick up on that.
I don't either. I don't either. Yeah, I really tried to sit with that and see how I felt about the moving information. I just don't know.
Yeah,
It doesn't grab me. It doesn't pull at me. It doesn't feel right.
and I think
Because I
that's what makes. Let's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I think that's what makes the ransom feel not as real,
Yeah,
kind of like I
yeah.
think there's.
I think she passed away. And then they were like, "Oh my God." Like, "Oh
Mm,
my God." And that is like the holy shit moment for them. There was never been
mm,
proof of life. As far as I don't know. Was there any proof of life? I didn't hear anything of proof of life. I don't think
which,
anything was given to the family proof of life, right? Because it now they're offering $1 million, right?
mm,
Now, I did recently sit down with her. Well, I was having a ton of dreams of ambushes, and I knew there was something about Americans and possibly Mexican issues. Um, and then I just kept getting ambush, ambush, ambush. Well, at the time, I did not know that there was another attempt on Trump's life. Obviously, he was not there. The perpetrator tried to get through a gate or something. I don't know. He drove through a gate and was I don't know what the deal is with that, but maybe that was also part of the shock and surprise that I kept ambushing, that I kept getting,
mm,
and I thought, well, maybe that's why I'm being pulled to American. And then the Mexico stuff started happening, and I was getting like ambushes, execution, human trafficking, all that kind of stuff. And at first, I was trying to place everything with Nancy Guthrie, and I was like, okay, this doesn't like it's not connecting for me. And then that's when I heard about Trump, and then I heard about the Mexico stuff, and I was like, oh,
mm,
that's where that is. Um, so I have been trying to lay low a little bit on Nancy because I've been doing everything like sitting with her and trying to do more art, trying to do more maps, trying to, and I was like, okay, I don't want to get in my left head, which is very possible for anybody to do that keeps trying to sit with something. And I don't want to make up bullshit. Like that's you can feel it. And I watched some psychic mediums on TikTok, and I think their hearts are all in the right place for the most part. I just feel like sometimes they start getting into their left brain, and I can start feeling when it's like, oh, ugh, don't say that. Like, oh God, it's incorrect information, and but they feel it, right? Because their left brain's kicked in now. I don't want that to happen to me. So I try to take some breaks in between. But I did sit with it again, and I approached it a little bit differently. And I felt like I was on top of this mountain structure, rocky mountain structure. And she met me at the top. And that's when I was like, okay, she's 100% deceased because she's here with me now. And oh gosh, believe it or not, I don't have my notes in front of me because there was a lot that I got from that scene. Oh no, I don't have it with me. Whoops. No, I'm just gonna have to do a TikTok thing on it. But I wanted to talk to you about it. Crap. Um, oh well, shit. But I did draw some weird stuff. I don't know if you can see this, Anna. Oh, and I got the name Jamie.
Oh,
Um, or if it's not Jamie, maybe it just starts with a J, or Jaime or something like that.
mhm.
But I felt like there was a J name. And I also heard Lisbeth. I don't know if that would mean anything to anybody. Oh, I found it. Okay. So the one thing that stuck out with me is that I saw her, like her and I were looking over this rocky terrain. And I want to say it was like I didn't know what to call it, and I called it a canyon. And you guys know, I am not the sharpest tool of the shed. I am not geographically inclined. I'm not historically inclined. I am not mathematically inclined. Like, I'm just me, okay? And I get by with common sense, I guess. Don't ask my husband that question. He'll give you a different answer. But um, so I was like, oh, this is a canyon. I felt like I was in a canyon because I felt like there was like I was in between these like weird mountainous rocky place, and I was a little bit low. Nancy was with me. We were up a little bit up in front of the mountains, but when I looked down, there was mountains all around us, or this rocky formation was around us, and I kept wanting to call it a canyon. The
Hmm.
weird thing is she kind of disappeared, and I was like, what am I missing? What am I missing? That is like what I want to know. And I did not see her again, but I saw her a hand, an older female hand with this like corally nail polish, or like a pink nail polish, and it just grabbed dirt, and then it showed me the dirt, and I looked at it, and it was like black, sandy, gravelly dirt.
Oh, well, that might be separating where different, like
I think
there's
she's
sand
trying
in
to tell
different
me.
areas.
I think she's trying to tell me where she is.
Right, because the sand is maybe different. I don't know the area. I don't know
Yeah,
too
I
much
don't
about
know if
Arizona.
it's not so much sand. It's more like a gravelly, crumbly dirt, maybe. It's got some sandy element to it,
So,
but
so
it's dark in color. It's like black.
right.
Is there black sand in Arizona?
I don't know Arizona well, but I can give you an example. For example, the red rock in
Right,
Sedona would be a
right.
different color. So maybe there's some type of area
And
nearby.
is there, my question to Arizonians, if you are in that area, is there black sandy dirt near a canyon? Would a particular canyon be known for that?
Or maybe even think of it more abstractly, like a rock structure. Even it doesn't necessarily have to be a canyon. That might be how it was visually presented to you.
Right. Right. That's
So
very true.
just keep that in mind too. It could
Yeah.
be that, or
Well,
it could be
because one
like
of
a
my landmarks was a rocky formation. I can tell you, a lot of people on TikTok, they're so badass. They're just like, boom, boom, boom. They're giving me names of landmarks so I can like kind of look at stuff. And I think that one of the landmarks that stood out to me was the fingers, something fingers. And it was like kind of behind Nancy's house, actually. And that area still kind of draws me in. There's a
yeah.
trail. Like I felt like I also saw a sign that had writing on it, and I was trying to read the writing and I could not. It was pissing me off, but I knew that the writing was in red. I don't know if that's my left brain or not, but I'm going to put that out there. Um,
So you're still feeling like we're close by to Nancy's house.
I still do.
I do too. And I
Okay,
think that's
good.
part of like the Joan Benet Ramsey thing, that she was found in her house. So she wasn't far away, you know me,
Right.
obviously. So the ransom note didn't make sense also with that. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. So
I
that's kind of how
I
it's sort of
still
playing out for me.
yeah, and I definitely still feel like there's multiple perpetrators. I think that
Yes.
there's at least three or four. Originally I said two or three. Now I'm starting to think that there's more. I, and let's say this, the other person may not have been part of the crime, but they absolutely freaking know about it.
Could have orchestrated. You,
Well, I think it also could be, I found out later that you were involved. So,
mm,
but there is somebody else that knows that may not have be a part of it. So step forward, biatch. Step forward. You know,
uh,
the I don't know if she's a Guthrie anymore. I don't remember Savannah's last name, but I mean, they're freaking offering $1 million. Just,
it's heart wrenching to watch on TV.
I
You
know, I
see, it's
can't.
just
It
heart
makes me
wrenching.
cry every time.
I just want
It.
it
I
to
know.
be solved. Right.
Um. So yeah, I still feel mountainous. I feel something about being up higher. I still feel like when I look around, there is like these rocky um mountains. It's like more like rock formation, but it is there. The sand and the dirt is what really stuck out to me. The J name really stuck out to me. Um yeah, the sign in red writing, I have that there. Those were different things that I got. And a lot of the other stuff I got was similar to what I've gotten before. So, I don't know if the sign in red would be any different.
What
You
did the
know,
sign? Did you know what the sign said? It
no, I
just
couldn't
you.
read it. I tried. I tried to look at the sign. It's definitely in two parts. Like it has lettering on the top and then lettering on the bottom, and they were both in red. And it felt like a brown sign, like a rectangular in shape. And I felt like I saw the sign in uh not like in a planter, but like it looked more like in the wild. I don't know, like out in the field, like not a field, but uh, it's not like in a park. It's more like natural looking is where I
Mhm.
saw the sign. But I felt like could it be part of a trail? Could it be part of something like that? Um,
Again, keeping within the vicinity of her
yeah.
home.
And
How
the
far
other,
out would you say? Like
oh
how?
God, I still don't feel like she traveled very far. I think going past 30 minutes is way too long. I think originally I felt like she was in a vehicle for like 15-20 minutes max. Truly. But that's all subjective. So I mean, I always say like 30 minutes and less, um, just in case. Because I here's the problem that I find that I have is that if I say, oh, I keep seeing these squares, it's a mine. It's a mine. Or if I say something like that, then people can't stop thinking about mines.
Right. You have to not label it.
I
Try to.
can't freaking label it. We've talked about this just in the beginning of this podcast, right? We
Yeah.
have to describe it. But what I will say is it kind of reminds me of a mind. And um so that people have an idea of what it might look like, but they it leaves them a little bit more open to thinking outside the box. And
Yeah.
maybe even when I say it, I'm hoping if this, obviously I'm not saying she is here, she's on this trail, she's I can't do that. I would never reach out to the police because it is a waste of their time to look try to look for all this stuff. But would someone then hear this and say, I know what she's talking about, and then at least go and check it out, right? That's the
Right.
possibility. But yeah, the J name came in pretty strong. Um, Names are not always my strong suit, but I am working on it. I try to keep it on a positive and not a negative. But I did feel like it said Jamie or Jaime. And J. I'm gonna say it's a J name, and I feel like there's a connection to that name. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. What do you think about that?
Definitely. It's a lot of, it's better to just say, I think the J, if you're not getting the full name, I think that that's the way to go, because it opens up
Yeah.
people's minds, like you said, labeling, naming things.
Yeah, I know. And I thought I heard another name, which is Alberto. So I'm just going to throw that out there just in case. I don't know. I don't know if those are the right names or not, but those are names I wrote down. It could be names that start with a J, start with an A, and start with an L because I got Lisbeth, and yeah, I don't know. But this case, uh, yeah, it's a crazy one. And I'm gonna tell you, yesterday, I really felt the whole energy to me completely shifted for me yesterday with this case. I don't know if you sat with it lately or felt anything, but my energy levels went from a little bit higher to dropping low, like very somber.
And
Um,
and
I,
explain that maybe a little bit.
I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I just was like, I would think of the case and I was just like, ugh, like, I don't know.
Are
I,
we at a
I
standstill, do you think? Is that kind of, are you just getting,
no, I don't think we are. And I think that the police know way more than they are putting out. And I don't know why I felt so sad about it yesterday. I just felt so sad about it yesterday. This is even before I saw the Savannah stuff.
mm,
And so could I be tapping into Savannah, like her, like giving up? She's not necessarily giving up hope, but she's coming to an understanding that maybe possibly her mom's not going to be alive. And did I feel that? Like, I hate that
yeah,
I have to say this out loud, but I
right,
have to say this out loud.
right.
And maybe that's what I felt, but I felt so down yesterday when I didn't even try to tap in. I just was thinking about the case and I was like, why am I feeling so low about this? And I will say this, you guys. I know that Anna and I, we see things a little bit different when it comes to the sheriff. Maybe not. I don't know. I know that a lot of people are criticizing the sheriff, and I will tell you this because I am married to a police officer who's gone through all kinds of crazy cases. He was a detective, and how think of Pima County. Pima County is a little bit on the higher end, is my understanding. Like it's a little bit more upper money type of area. I don't know if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what I heard. So, how many high profile kidnappings has this sheriff had to deal with?
Mm,
I can tell you, it'll probably be zero. So, cut this guy some slack. That's what I'm telling just everybody in general. Like, cut this man some slack. He's probably never had to deal with that intense pressure of the media. Everybody's scrutinizing every single move that he does. Um, he is testing DNA. It doesn't come out right. People start criticizing him. He can't control DNA. I don't
yeah, I
know.
mean,
You
it's
know
a
what I
high
mean?
profile. Yeah, it's such a high profile case. Everybody wants to crack it. Everybody wants it done tomorrow,
But
and I think,
and if he didn't test all that shit, guess what? People would be bitching that he didn't test it.
right, right. I don't think it's a any win situation. I think
No.
the emotions are heightened. I mean, this is, it's got America gripped on the edge of their seat, waiting to see what's going to happen to this
Yeah.
poor family. So I think, yeah, that I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to be working on this case as law
Hell
enforcement.
no.
It's
Hell
a real tough,
no.
and
He is
and
being
and
criticized right and left. And then I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, I think you and I agree on this. The one thing that we could not believe was that he opened the scene so quickly after the disappearance. And my husband also thought that was a little odd. And I said, do you think it's possible that they were just like, kidnapping? Really? No. Did she wander off being elderly and didn't say anything? Like, this is what I'm thinking maybe the sheriff or the police department is thinking, right? Like the sheriff's department. Like, she's but then we got news that she is sharp as a tack and no, she couldn't wander off, right? But is that the how they were, that was the mentality maybe a little bit in the beginning. And they were like, okay, we'll just have to find her, open it up. They're not thinking it's really a crime. But then we get conflicting information, right? Because now they said, did you look in the bedroom? And you could tell that there was something that happened in the bedroom that was in the earlier interviews. Well, now they're saying that she was actually reported missing on Saturday. Did
Wow.
you hear that?
No, I did not.
So,
Saturday in the evening, kind of like what? After
well,
dinner? I mean, she didn't get home until 10 o'clock, supposedly from dinner. So that doesn't
I
leave
don't
much time.
know. I don't know if that was like a mistake in speaking, like someone was talking and then they said Saturday instead of Sunday. But we all know that we did not hear about it and that they didn't get called until Sunday after church, which was like around 11 or 12 o'clock or
Right.
1 o'clock or somewhere around there. So did someone misspoke or did she really get reported missing on Saturday?
And it's hard to know. There's a lot of those facts. Even her being at church was not exactly correct. She was at a friend's taping, like she was supposed to be at a friend's house because they taped the church sermon,
Correct.
or they cut. Yeah, so I mean people were
Yeah.
thinking she was going to
Like my
church.
grandmother, she always watched church online because she was too old to get up and go.
Right,
And then after a
right,
while, she just didn't want to go, but she still wanted to be part of it. So she watched it online and that was back in the day. I'm like, I don't even know how she even did that or how they did that. But yeah, so I think that that's what she was supposed to do, like you said, with a friend. And
right. So
then
it became
she didn't
apparent
show
she
up.
wasn't there. Right, so you would
Exactly.
question and call, whereas she wasn't just at church and
So
people
I'm
were
wondering if
wondering.
that was just a mistake that someone misspoke and said Saturday instead of Sunday. And then everybody started jumping the gun of like, what's going on?
I know,
So
like again, such a high profile case, so
you
many
have to
front loaded
watch.
information.
Yeah, and then you have to watch everything you say. So I wouldn't want to be a police officer. So here's the funny thing going back to like when you first start discovering that you've got certain weird abilities. I used to tell my husband all the time, I want to be a detective. I want to go out and do forensic stuff. And I'm not smart enough to get a degree in that, but B, my husband's like, you do realize you have to go through the police academy. And I was like, oh, Jesus, no, thank you. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get gassed. I don't want to run. I don't want to do jungle gyms. Like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Um, and um, and then here we are working as forensic psychic mediums. You know what I mean? Like, or in what they call either like intuitive investigator or what's the other term people use? Psychic detective.
Yeah.
Forensic psychic medium is kind of what I lean towards because I feel like that's some of the stuff I lean towards is like the mapping and the landmarking and that kind of crazy shit. But um yeah, this case is freaking baffling.
It is. It is.
Um and I we're gonna tell you something else. Someone reached out to me. She doesn't consider herself a psychic medium. I was like, well, this is a psychic download that you got. This is what it's called. And she, what did she say to me? She said that she felt, oh, lost my train of thought. Give me a second here.
Can you
Forgot
still
my,
hear me?
yeah.
My power went down.
Oh, I didn't notice. I totally lost my train of thought, but this lady reached out to me and she was telling me that she had some kind of, she felt like, oh, for Rick. It was a good one too. Um, fuck. Oh well, it's gone. I don't know what that thought was gonna be. That's not surprising. And I was saying psychic forensic.
Did she share with you on TikTok or?
Yeah, she wrote me an email, and she was saying that she felt something. Oh, okay. So the lady who contacted me, so she said, I'm not a psychic medium. And oh my God, I lost it again. No, here it is. Okay. She said that she felt that there was a blackout, a psychic blackout. And I thought of that and I was like, that is so interesting that she said that.
Hmm.
That has happened to me once before on a different case. And I'm going to tell you, it was Gabby, not Gabby Patino. It was Gabby from California. And again, her significant other murdered her as well. I can't think of her name, but I have her on a previous one that I did episode. But all the psychic mediums were saying like, I can't see, I can't see, I can't see it. And even her parents totally believed in psychic mediums, and they contacted a psychic medium from the Philippines because she's Filipino, and well renowned psychic medium, can tell you location names like the whole nine yards, right? And that psychic medium wasn't getting any info. And when I sat down with that case, she was showing me happy memories to the point where I thought she was alive. And then I was like, no, but my gut's telling me she's deceased. And but she kept showing me her and this kid watching movies, laughing, playing, shopping, movie dates, um, hanging out, just all those types of things. Um, and then I realized what she was doing. I felt it. And I was like, okay, she doesn't want this guy to be remembered in that way because they had had a relationship for over 6 years. And he got into drugs. He wasn't always that guy. And she doesn't want people to remember him as being that guy. So I literally had to come to Jesus with a spirit. And I had to say, knock it off. Like, your parents need to know where you are. You need to give your parents peace, please. Um, I understand and I am acknowledging why you're doing what you're doing, but we want to help your parents. We need to help your brothers. So please, 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 please. And girl, let me tell you, it was like the floodgates opened and I started seeing imagery. I knew exactly what happened to her. I could feel it. I could see it. So when this lady reached out to me and she goes, I just feel like there's some kind of psychic blackout. Hot damn, I didn't even think about that because I have been saying from the beginning, I cannot see certain things, which is my remote viewing is pretty strong. You and I both, I think, right? You've been trained with controlled remote viewing.
A little remote, yeah.
Yeah. So I was trained military style controlled remote viewing, CRV, and had classes with some of the originals back with Stargate and stuff like that. So I'm pretty good at remote viewing. Now, there's another technique that's called ERV, and I'm even better at that. Like, my remote viewing is more like external remote viewing, which is ERV. Um, Controlled remote viewing, done the correct way, is a series of things that you have to do, and it's all writing down, right? I get in my head when I do that type or that form. So I tend to do ERV mostly with some writing, but mostly ERV. And I can jump in location. Um, I touch the ground. I can look up. I can see. I can look right. I can look left. I can make myself move within that area. All that kind of stuff. I cannot do that with Nancy. I was even jumping in, and I was like, okay, I'm jumping in. My left hand is going to be on her, and I'm going to touch the ground. What am I in? And I would have to sit there and go, okay, I can feel Nancy. I feel her. She's right next to me. Black. The room is black. It's completely dark. So does that mean she's in a location that's dark, or am I blacking out? Am I blacked out? Because I think I even said that to you when we were doing our session.
Right, you
I am
did.
having a hard time seeing. That's for a reason. I think that we are getting blacked out for a reason. There's something that needs, because, right, it's not just about solving the case. There is purpose and journey and lessons all apart with everything that happens.
Mm,
Everything has
absolutely.
a purpose. And has that purpose not been accomplished yet? I don't know. You know what I mean? Hey, guinea, guinea. I don't know if that has been accomplished or not. And maybe this is why it hasn't been solved yet. Now, I felt in the very beginning, and I think I told you, like, I feel like she's going to be discovered in about a week or two. Like, I think they'll find her pretty quickly. Then I think the circumstances change because she passed. And
Right.
then that's obviously why we don't have her with us right now. So, yeah, interesting theory, but I couldn't. And it ironically, she met me on that mountaintop with the sun's gleaming behind her. I saw her in a white nightgown, uh, basically just missing the angel wings and halo. I mean, that's what she reminded me of, is like an angel, right? And her and she was holding my hand and we were standing there at the top and I was just giving her my love and she was giving it back. And, but she didn't show me her body when she showed me her hand with the dirt. Where is
Mm.
that? I don't know. Why isn't she showing me the whole thing? Why isn't she showing me where her body is? I can
Yeah.
normally see that. There's just a few cases that seriously blacked out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's something there. Yeah,
I
for sure.
can't even draw it on my maps. I can draw a map. And normally I'll say, okay, my victim is here. This is what's around her, but she's here. Or I can make an X like this is what's next to her, and I can't do that with her. I just draw my map and go, I don't know where she is. Here's my map. Here's my map, everybody. But I don't know where that is. I tried to draw a canyon. I tried to draw, oh God, I don't know if you can see it. But anyways, I'll put it on TikTok. I try to draw a canyon. I think that's water. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to get there. I just showed up at the top of that rock formation with Nancy. Is she there? I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
And that's what's really difficult. Why is she blocking me? And she said other people felt the same way when they were connecting to Nancy, that they were being blocked.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what lesson needs to be learned right now? What is it that needs to be learned? I don't know. But this one baffles me. It's so frustrating. And I know, like, let me get your food for thought on this. There are some psychic mediums who've been getting on TikTok, giving the speech of, if they didn't contact you, you should not be talking about this case. Like law enforcement as a psychic medium. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think you should just be contacting law enforcement. I'm
No, but if you're not contacted by law enforcement, you should not be talking about this case at all.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
yeah,
Like,
you kind of have. Yes, yes. I mean, we can talk about it. I feel that's fine. I mean, again, we don't have solid facts, so there's certain things we don't say,
yeah.
certain things we do say, right?
And
So
I understand what they're saying. What they're saying is, don't say the ugly stuff. I think that's what they're trying to say.
pointing fingers, maybe kind of
Yes.
without
Yeah, you can't say so and so did it,
right.
right? And you can't say, well, so in one of my videos, I did not say whether she was um, dead or alive. I did not say that. I did just say, let me just give you the information I got. And that's what I did. Now, I dreamt about it, so I gave it. And that's why I did the TikTok stuff on it, because I dreamt about her. Not unbeknownst to me that this was what I was dreaming about. And I felt like I was thinking about that, and I really pondered what she was saying, and I agree with that up to a point, because I felt like I get it, because I did see some psychic mediums that were pointing fingers, saying that they were connecting with Nancy and they were talking shitty about the family. I would never do that. I don't do that. I don't speculate. I just give what I get. And I think um, I took a back seat a little bit also because I was really thinking about what she said on her video. And I thought, well, I didn't say whether I thought she was dead or alive. Someone did ask me. I did respond to that. And I said, unfortunately, I don't think she's alive. but I did not put that on my video. And I was super conscious about that because I know family does run into social media stuff and content. And I'm very aware that that could be hurtful. And I do watch certain words that I say. Um, Dealing with families, victims' families all the time. I've learned that certain words are triggering. And so I do watch what I say when I talk about a crime. Um, and so I feel like I get what they're saying, but if spirit comes to me, I'm going to do it.
Mm.
I just be careful with what I say.
Yeah, and I think using the common sense guidelines, like you just said,
Yeah.
is one thing. Another is to go on and just
Yeah.
rant about all kinds of things, that we don't
Yeah.
have hard evidence for.
Yes. Because a lot of people are saying, well, I'm channeling Nancy, and this is what she's telling me. I think that gets a little dangerous. Um, like I think that gets a little dangerous. I don't
Right.
know. I mean, I think it's okay to channel if you're on TikTok and that's what you do. But I would just say be very cautious about what you say because it does hurt family. And maybe put it in a way that's not so ugly.
And you can talk about things without labeling necessarily, like you were saying. It's,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
sort of.
Oh, there's that show. I've never watched it. Have you ever watched the show The Medium with an Arquette? I can't remember the lead person that
I,
she.
I I didn't watch that show. No, I
Okay,
didn't.
I've never watched it either. I'm intrigued. Now I'm going to watch it. But um so apparently that show is based on a real life psychic medium who works on crime. And her name is Janet Dubois, I think. I'm so sorry if I'm getting that name wrong, but she is out of Arizona. And so some people on TikTok have been like, why isn't the police contacting her? Because she's does this. She's been doing it for years. And again, they created that show based on her. And she's in their backyard.
I think it's Allison.
Is it Allison Dubois? I thought it was Janet. You might be right. I think no, you're right. It is.
I just heard it in my head.
That's weird. Yeah,
Yeah, that's how
maybe
I
it
get
is.
things.
Is it Allison? I think you might be right. I think you're right. Anyway, she's in Arizona. So why aren't they using her? I don't know. So she did put out a statement on, I believe, Instagram, I believe. And she did say, like, the police department did not reach out to me
Right.
and that she is not going to give what she gets and put anything out. But she did have a public service announcement that if anybody in the Pima County area sees birds or buzzards flying in a circle, maybe check it out. Look out for smoke. Oh, that's another thing I got was fire. I kept getting the
Mm.
word fire. So um I thought that was very interesting because it's in one of my drawings I put up on TikTok. I keep drawing these square things, dude. I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's like a mine shaft or if it's a
Yeah, it's the shape, right?
it's the shape.
Naming it's gonna.
Yeah, it's gonna put stuff in it. So and I kept calling them squarey things, and everybody's like, "There's tons of fucking squarey things in Arizona."
Right,
I've
right.
never been, so I don't know. So I'm like, oh, now I go back and I start looking like on maps and looking at the houses. I'm like, oh my god, all of their houses are squarey, you know. So it is a little difficult. But I keep drawing the same squares. That's really weird.
And it could be an air, like, yeah, right. It could be aerial view of a particular clump of.
Yeah, the view that I had when I drew was I was standing, and then there was like these square things. Um, and then I had another dream. I don't know if I told you about it, but I saw two men putting something inside like a drainage pipe. It was like a huge, big, round metal drainage pipe. I don't know what they put in. I just saw them that movement of like pushing something. And one guy was taller than the other. And but there was two. And I know that there were guys, they had that water broad look to them. Um, and so again, I don't know what that means. I did not see a body. I did not see with, and it doesn't mean they were hiding a body. It could be that we're hiding maybe the backpack or like the gloves or like
Right,
evidence or something,
right.
right? And so, but I did see that at one point also.
And they did check the drains on her
Yeah.
property.
So I did a TikTok video and I said, I don't know what this round circular thing is, but it reminds me of a drainage pipe. And when I went to go look up drainage pipe on Google, there was these squarey things that the
Oh,
drainage pipes were in. So I was like, does anybody know where this is? Should we look in there? I'm not going to Arizona, but can somebody look in there? You know? So I guess they did. They had, now there's this dude, the Cajun military dude. Did you see that?
I
And
did not.
he's now volunteering to search for Nancy. Him and his group, maybe. I don't know if they're professional searchers. And we talk about this all the time. You know, I always tell people, if you're not a professional searcher, don't go.
Right.
You're gonna
Get
fuck
hurt.
shit up. You can, yeah, you can fuck shit up. If you have training in searching, there's a certain pattern that people do when they are on ground searching. It's like a weave pattern of walking. So, and
Mhm.
people don't think that you can miss things if you're out there looking. You can walk right by something and not
Absolutely.
even know it. Not even fucking know it. Obviously, you hope there's a smell, then you would catch it. But what if you're near a sewer? That was the other thing I was thinking. Is there some kind of sewer thing? And so that the smells match. Like
Mm.
I don't, that popped into one of my readings also. Um, so anyways, going back to Alison Janet Dubois. Um, I think that she was like, search for buzzards, right? Look for smoke. And if you happen to see this, call the police. And then she also said at the bottom, which I was like, okay, that's freaking cool. Um, she also felt like there was two men and a woman involved in this. And that's all she's like, that's all I'm gonna say. And Pima County knows how to get a hold of me because usually works on cold cases with them. So but she's never worked, I don't think, on a live case with them. So Pima County, reach out to her. Reach out. Shit. If Savannah is going to be willing to pay $1 million, then you know, paying the psychic medium to do some work, I don't think should be a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to hurt at this point?
Why not?
Even if you don't believe in it.
It's been enough time. It's not like it's a fresh case. It's not like it's
Yes.
been there.
Yes. So this Cajun man is very interesting to me. I don't know why. I think of him often. And I know that they have these three ladies that also look for bodies. Have you heard of them? I can't think of the name of the group that they are. They look either indigenous or Hispanic in visual look.
Mm.
But their technique is they get poles or like the metal
Mm-hmm.
stuff and they punch holes in the ground and then they pull it out and they smell it.
Wow.
And apparently they've been doing this for years.
And they're very successful. Are they
And
found?
they've been successful. That's
That's
fucking cool.
amazing. It's amazing.
Dude,
So
I want to learn that
I know
because
that's quite a
if
technique.
we could use our intuitiveness, right? Like if I go out and I'm like, I feel so pulled to go over here, and you're just like, and I've got a sniffer, like nobody, like it's my sniffing is crazy good. So could I smell it? My daughter can smell illness. Did I
That's
tell you about that?
amazing. Yeah,
Karina can
no.
smell illness. So if you have cancer, my daughter will be behind them and she just looks at me and goes, oh,
Oh,
she can smell the difference between cancer and like different illnesses. It smells different to her. Is that crazy?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
her and I together, it's really interesting because she'll look at me. Oh, the other day we were standing in line and an older lady was standing in front of us and Karina looked at me and had tears in her eyes and just was like, and I was like, I could feel it, but she could smell it. Yeah. I was like, this older lady has cancer. She's going to pass. Like, very
so
soon.
it just, yeah, it just goes to show how everybody's skills are different. You know,
Completely
everyone's got a
different.
different skill set. Thank God, too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. So the fact that, I mean, Karina might even be better than me if she does a sniffer test that she would want to. My girl's a little squeamish and she doesn't like to walk. So my chair is broken. Sorry. So yeah. Anyways, they people are coming out. Odd things are starting. Are coming out to look for Miss Nancy, and I think that this is a good thing. I do. I don't know why I felt so sad yesterday. I just felt like maybe it's just that Savannah had, actually had to say it out loud and she didn't want to. The fact
Yeah.
that her mother is not, could be coming home unalive. And maybe that's what I was feeling, but there was just something about yesterday with the case. I was pulled to the case, but maybe this is why I was pulled to the case. I don't know, but my prayers are out to the Guthrie family, the kids, and I don't
Yeah,
know. I
my
think
heart
this
goes
is
out to them too. I mean, that is just one
your
heck thing.
mom. This is someone's mom. I mean, I know there's a ton of cases out there um about moms who go missing, and it's that just it just breaks my fucking heart. It
Breaks
just
your
breaks my
heart.
heart. It hurts.
84-year-old woman. I
I
mean,
know.
that's
Craziness.
crazy. It's crazy.
So I do have so Anna, like I said, Anna is going to be part of the show moving forward, and this is the kind of stuff we're going to still be talking about. We're going to be working on different cases, and we're going to do a lot of um Gabby stuff about metaphysicals. And I already will tell you, Anna, people have been reaching out to me on TikTok about different cases.
Excellent.
This is it's a never ending plethora of cases.
There's a
Please,
lot out there.
yeah, unfortunately, everybody, I know that you guys send it to me via emails, and you are now contacting me on TikTok. And please know I cannot work on a lot of cases at one time because I'm so scared of combining or blending information. So I do try to limit cases that I work on. And I will also say that I will work on cases that I'm extremely pulled to. And that is going to go for Anna as well. If
Yeah.
you end up, Anna, if people want to get some soul art done by you, where
Yes.
do they reach you?
So they can either direct message me on the Instagram account, or they can reach me at my email,
Which
which
is,
is ambemis@comcast.net. And I think if you could put that up on your site as well,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
we'll
would be
put that in
great.
the description below. We'll have all those
Absolutely.
links. But sometimes people are listening and they can remember that shit. I can't remember anything. But yeah, so if you get a case, Anna, and you are interested, if you guys send things to Anna, and she feels pulled to that, then we'll work on those cases. I've already got 25 people. You know
Wow.
what I mean? Yeah, we can't get to every one of them. I can't imagine that we can, get to them. We're just gonna have to go like, what do you feel pulled to? Let's do it, type of thing. Because unfortunately, people go missing every day. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
cold cases every day, and it gets overwhelming. And I want to work on things in a healthy way so that I'm not getting in my left brain. I don't want to try to do so many that we are fucking it up. And that
Exactly.
kind, you know what I mean?
And
So
yeah, and like you said, the connection in feeling drawn to a case is really important. I think there's something
yeah,
about that,
yeah. And
much as we'd like to.
yeah, and I want to tell people out there, spirit is brilliant. They know that I'm only one avenue. They will lead you to somebody else. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If I can't do
better
it
for
and
the
I'm not
case.
getting it to, they will lead you to somebody else. And that to me goes along the line with, like, walking into a restaurant and grandma comes to me and is like, "That's my grandson." I don't walk up to people and go, "Are you open for a reading?"
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
do that. I just think that I don't walk into a stranger's house and put my fucking feet up on their coffee table, walk in without being invited, right? So I always tell spirit, create an opening. If they talk about anything that's metaphysical, anything, little tiny nugget of metaphysical, or, oh, I can't believe that happened. I'll say, actually, I believe it can. And, like, can I ask you a question? Then I will do it because grandma gave me that opening.
right.
So just because you can, guys, doesn't mean you should. And I'm a big believer in that. But yeah, spirit is brilliant, you guys. Just because I don't get to it, or you and Anna, or Anna and I just cannot connect with a certain case, please know that your spirit person will lead you to somebody else, if you ask them to, and you're gonna be fine. That your spirit person will tell you who to go to and where to go, and make it happen. They'll
Yeah.
make it happen. Trust
Yes.
me. I've had even people come to me at night and talk to me, and I'm like, oh my God. And the next day I'll have a picture in my emails, and I'll be like, oh, okay, boom. That that was a no-brainer. She came to me twice. I need to do this. You know what I mean? So
Right.
um anyways, thank you, Anna,
Yeah.
for coming on today and every day. And I appreciate you saying that you are going to be my partner in crime. Anna and I are going to a really cool training in March. And if you guys go, I can't even remember what it's called. Is it Medium in the Middle? No, that's not it.
Together with Spirit.
Together with Spirit, and it is in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And Anna and I will both be there, doing the training. Actually, where it's all about mediumship, all different types of mediumship, from physical to mental to evidential to trance,
And art as well.
and
Spirit art.
art.
Yes, it covers all the bases. Something
Yeah,
for everyone.
this gets, I know this gets me pumped. Like, I get all excited about these trainings, and a lot of these instructors are from where, Anna? I can't remember. Scotland.
Yes. So Dominic Bogue comes to us from Scotland, as well as Josephine, and I'm drawing a blank on her last name right now. She's the spirit artist. And then we have Scott Milligan from the UK, who is going to do a little bit more on the trance mediumship.
And that is in April, and it's
That's in
April
April.
17, 18, and 19.
Yeah, pulling up the
It's
weekend.
that weekend, y'all.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
weekend of the 17th. And
I
yeah,
think
if you
I
go
was going to
ahead.
say, I think there's the opening still until March 1st.
Final payment has to be done March 1st
Yeah.
if you're doing in payments. So
Yeah.
after March 1st, I think you have to pay it in full. So March 1st is right around the corner, y'all. And if you guys come and hear about the class and end up going, please come up and say hi to us. We'd love to say hi. And we Anna and I both love to talk, so we'll love to
Absolutely.
talk to you there. But signing off for today, we will be doing another episode next month. We're just doing this once a month for right now, and I think next month we're going to come to you with a different case, not the Guthrie case. Hopefully, we know something
Yeah.
about his
Hopefully
case
it's
with that
solved
guy.
by then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, me too. This is just, it makes me so sad. And okay, y'all, that's it. Signing off. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you guys next month.
Have a
Bye.
great. Yep. Bye bye.